there are some questions which can change lives, whereas there are others which can save lives. And when we talk about save lives, we don't mean one, two, we mean millions of lives. So what we decide today here in this next 30 minutes, that is going to help you treat and save lives in your patients. Yeah. So I would like to draw the attention of the chairperson. Whenever I used to go and give a talk in the Cardiological Society of India, the same question used to be there, that once you bring down blood sugars, why doesn't the cardiac mortality comes down? And I used to feel like Galileo. You remember that Galileo had also said that Earth revolves around the sun, but he was not believed initially, and he was made to say that it doesn't, but he had whispered, "E posse move," that it does. So similarly, I used to say that although we don't have evidence as of yet, we will have evidence in future, but it does help in reducing the coronary outcomes. And what is important is, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Since the science is not evolved enough to bring us the tools to measure exactly how the coronary outcomes are reducing. Similarly, we don't know how to address the issue of residual risk. We know that when you give statins, the coronary outcome should come down, but do you know that giving the best possible appropriate dose of statins, even then the residual risk of coronary artery disease is 60%. How do you explain it? We cannot explain because we don't have the tools. Maybe 5 years down the line we'll be explaining how these residual risks. So at that time, beyond 2008, we could not explain why bringing down sugars reduce coronary risk. Taking on to the positive sides, we've been using statins for the past 4 decades, but it is only last year we came to know that statins also have a legacy effect. Those patients who took part in the VOSCOP studies were given statins, and 20 years down the line they had benefits. So we didn't know this, but we've been using statins. So sometime down the line we'll have more evidence that bringing down blood sugars will definitely bring down coronary events. Not everything about diabetes, anything you do is definitely going to help. Diabetes occurs a decade earlier in Indians. The coronary artery disease in diabetics is known as malignant because they are younger at onset, more diffuse disease, more diffuse lesions. And the cost is prohibitive. So anything you do to prevent coronary events, you're going to help. I came across this paper by Dr. Bell, almost echoing that diabetes is a cardiac condition manifesting as hyperglycemia, almost suggesting that we should stop managing diabetes. It is the cardiologist who should be managing diabetes. But then when I delved into this paper, Dr. Bell himself states that the risk factors for myocardial infarction in diabetic patients are LDL, low HDL and HbA1c, that is blood sugars. So he also agrees with the fact that you have to bring down blood sugars, and he also cross-references it to the UKPDS study that bringing down blood sugars well reduces coronary events. And in conclusion he says that type 2 diabetes is a cardiac disease manifesting as hyperglycemia, but the treatment of risk factors including hyperglycemia. So definitely you have to reduce blood sugars to control, bring down coronary risk. There is a linear correlation between the rise in HbA1c and coronary risk factors. Higher the HbA1c, higher the risk. In 1992 itself in the journal they said that it is a modifiable risk factor. So you bring down blood sugars, you bring down coronary events. And now I am going to share with you evidences from guidelines which state that managing diabetes, hyperglycemia reduces coronary events. We start with diabetes care. Everybody reads, all of us read diabetes care. Now if you read this paragraph, cardiovascular disease is a major morbidity and mortality for individuals with diabetes and is a larger contributor to direct indirect cost of diabetes. We know that 75% of patients with diabetes die due to coronary events. And what does it say further? One which is highlighted, the common condition coexisting with diabetes, that is hypertension and dyslipidemia, are clear risk factors, and diabetes per se is an independent risk factor. So when you manage diabetes, you manage A, B, C. You manage the A1C, you manage the blood pressure, and you manage the cholesterol. So you've taken care of blood pressure and cholesterol, what remains is hyperglycemia. So obviously when you control hyperglycemia, this is what the guideline is saying, 2015. What does the European Heart Journal says? It reviews the best articles of the past preceding 2014, and what do they say? The multifactorial origin of CVD is recognized, and therefore focus should be on total cardiovascular risk protection and its modifiable components like blood pressure, LDL, non-HDL cholesterol and diabetes. So again, they also agree, the European Heart Journal in its yearbook says that you have to bring down blood sugars to control coronary events. And then everybody reads New England Journal of Medicine in this recent article published last month, selecting revascularization strategies in patients with coronary artery disease. In its editorial, the initial part, they say the treatment of patients with coronary artery disease includes risk factor modification. And what risk factor modification they say? Hypertension, hyperlipidemia and diabetes. Again, they recognize hyperglycemia as a part of risk factor for CAD. And then, like I was talking to you about Galileo did not have evidence that it actually causes, and he could not convince. But now we have evidence that actually reducing blood sugars, you prevent heart attacks. And this is by two trials, the BCCT trials and the UK-PDS trial. The follow-up of BCCT trial, which was in type 1, showed that by controlling blood sugars, you could actually control cardiovascular events, mortality. Similarly, the UK-PDS trial, which finished in 1998 and the extension of 17 years, showed that by reducing blood sugars, you could statistically significantly reduce coronary events. So this is just a trial which we needed and just to prove. And interestingly, 2015 March last month, this paper was published in World Journal of Cardiology, and its core tip, the gist of the paper they mention is that clinical outcomes of coronary artery disease in type 2 diabetes mellitus are poor despite improvements in medication and other interventions. This is because of the residual risk, as I spoke. We have not been able to collectively bring down the residual risk. Lot number of patients are still having coronary events in spite of high dose statins, drug-eluting stents. But then what they say that best thing, furthermore interventions with exercise and diet therapy during early stages of glucose abnormalities may be effective. So they say that treat early and you will be able to prevent. That is what the legacy effect is. Sooner you treat, the better it is for the patient. And then interestingly, if there is one paper in our Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism 2011, a very good journal which tries to find out why is this that the coronary mortality has not, their various trials have not been able to show significant reduction in coronary mortality except for the UK-PDS trial. They say that there are gaps in the knowledge. Again, the evidence of absence does not mean that absence of evidence. So again, this they say that probably it is the glycemic variability. The chairperson sir was talking about the common soil hypothesis. The common soil hypothesis of microvascular and macrovascular injury says that is the free radical injury at the level of mitochondria, the endothelium, the hemorrhagical defects with the platelets and the blood. So all this is common. So you have a common soil where all the complications are beginning. So that common soil hypothesis states that hyperglycemia and glycemic variability predisposes to free radical injury. So unless you control blood sugars and unless you control glycemic variability, you will not be able to bring down coronary events. We are still trying. We don't have many drugs in our armamentarium to control glycemic variability, but more drugs have been included like the DPP-4 which are there to control glycemic variability. Now, what is the proof that glycemic variability may actually hamper or increase coronary events? This is a paper published in Diabetes Care 2013. Single center study, 222 patients admitted with acute myocardial infarction. They did CGMS studies in these patients. Mean amplitude of glycemic variation were seen and they were correlated to the adverse coronary events. And at 1 year, those patients shown in dark bars which had higher excursions of blood sugars at admission and during stay had a poor outcome, significant, statistically significant. So you have to control glycemic variability. Probably this is why. So now we can now say, we don't have to whisper like what Galileo had to whisper when he stated that the earth revolves around the sun. We have to say with our head held high that glycemic control is very, very important for controlling blood sugars. And glycemic control is very important for bringing down the coronary events. Thank you.